In 2008, the movie Taken was released, only grossing $226 million globally. However, this movie and its premise entered the zeitgeist of pop culture forever, leaving its footprint with countless references. This movie follows a character, a former intelligence officer, played by Liam Neeson, as he attempts to rescue his daughter who had been kidnapped into the slave trade during a senior year trip abroad with a friend and fellow student. I believe a part of the memorable success of this film has to do with the connection it makes to men. All men have an innate desire to protect those around them and keep them from harm, willing to sacrifice almost anything to see these ends through. After separating from Abram, Lot finds himself on the outskirts of town known for wicked men and sinful practices. It was Lot's own desire that led him there, and these desires would prove to be detrimental to his own safety and the safety of his family. Shortly after Lot's move, the city of Sodom found itself in the middle of a regional war, with 4 kingdoms aligned against Sodom and 4 of its allies. The forces met at the Valley of Siddim, which is close to where the Dead Sea stands today. Upon fleeing from battle, the forces of Sodom and Gomorrah fell victim to vast tar pits, leaving these kingdoms without a proper army to defend them. The opposing armies continued toward these kingdoms and raided everything of value, kidnapping Lot in the process. One of Abram's allies managed to escape the battle and flee to Mamre to tell Abram of the kidnapping of his nephew. When learning of the kidnapping, Abram put together an army of 318 men and pursued the kidnappers all the way to the biblical city of Dan in modern-day Israel. After forcing a retreat in Dan, Abram's men continued pursuit into the area of Horeb, north of modern-day Damascus, Syria. It was here that Abram rescues Lot and recovers the spoils stolen from Sodom. As Abram returns to his land, he meets the king of Sodom and the king of Salem, which is modern-day Jerusalem. Abram gives a tithe of the spoils to the king of Salem, recognizing his priestly position, and returns all the lost spoils to the king of Sodom, taking special note not to hamper Abram's own reputation within the area. Melchizedek, king of Salem, makes this proclamation about Abram upon his return from war. Blessed be Abram by God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. Much like the intrinsic connection the movie Taken makes with its male audience, this story seems to hold the same level of fundamental truth. Often people like to picture God as a God of love, almost diminishing God's capability for war and justice. However, while yes, God is a God of love, God also protects those he loves. It is clear that Abram was acting in a godly character by seeking to save his nephew and bring justice to those who had wronged him. The same is true for us today, though we should always keep in mind that there is a fine line between justice and vengeance. For God says, "Vengeance is mine, and recompense for the time when their foot shall slip. For the day of their calamity is at hand, and their doom comes swiftly." And Paul repeats this in his letter to the Romans. "Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God. For it is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. So for the male audience, as we study this story and many others, know that your masculinity and the desire to protect those around you from harm is in no way toxic and does not speak against the nature God created in you. This is something inherent God placed inside of the male character to mirror his own character. Take comfort in this desire, that God made you to protect and to keep peace for your family and your community. Please continue to follow along with me as we learn more about the character of the God who made us and his desires for us. May God keep you and bless you. Really quick, before you go, let me explain why I felt led to start this channel. When talking to Pilate, Jesus said, "I have come into the world to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice." Pilate responds by asking, "What is the truth?" It's evident that a lot of people are still asking this question almost 2,000 years later. And while we live in an amazing time with the wealth of the world's knowledge available in the palm of our hands, there's often too much information, leaving people unable to process what's true and what's not true. Paul describes such times in this way when he writes his second letter to his disciple Timothy. Always learning and never able to arrive at a knowledge of the truth. There are several who expound on what truth is, but often they are misguided or they are malice in their intent, or they're being intellectually dishonest. My hope is that I am able to provide evidence for why the scriptural narrative is true, a contextual and practical explanation of the principles found in its writings, and a defense for other believers. As Peter explains, you should always be prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. Yet do it with gentleness and respect. If you find value in this channel as I do, there are a few ways you can help, both by gifting and without spending any money. First, react and interact with these videos wherever you're watching from. This greatly helps the channel be seen by others and new people. Next, please share this content with others you feel may benefit from the information found here. Also, please subscribe to this channel on all social media. And finally, if you feel led to, and if you have the means to, please consider giving to this channel through the outlets previously mentioned, or the channel's Patreon. All these links are going to be in the video description. Thank you for watching, and may God keep you and bless you.